pleasant good morning. It's 10:06 at WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast, WPSLTV.com, worldwide, 7:06 in Las Vegas, the home of my king, and, of course, Charles Moskowitz, who's with us on the East Coast in World Series town, Boston, Massachusetts. Hey, guys.
It's another morning of actually phenomenal earnings.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about it, Michael. It sounds pretty good.
You have earnings like Harley Davidson, much better than expected. Freeport, FCX, no one expected that. And
that's Freeport. What? McMoran?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
you have to remember. You have to remember that besides the metals, Freeport McMoran made a pretty big acquisition about 6 months ago in the oil side of the business, and everybody poo-pooed it and said, "Oh no, that doesn't make any sense." And in the meantime, it's paying off in spades.
Really? I didn't know they were into oil.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
It was a fair-sized acquisition.
Okay. Well, hey, whatever works. Yeah. Huh. Interesting stuff.
I mean, oil is now, you say the word oil, you might as well be saying .com in 1999 or, I mean,
well, look,
everybody
look
wants
look at the Kleenex people. Would you think Kleenex? KMB. Look at Kimberly Clark. It's just out of sight this morning. You think it's a glamour stock.
Right.
Mike, that's one thing that has not changed in, 100 years, and that's a need for Kleenex.
Right. Consumer non-durables. In other words, stuff that consumers all use and throw away.
Uh-huh. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, you have that. You have Colgate. Toothpaste, tissues, toilet paper, paper towels.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever works. It's. By the way, I'm really upset at the two of you guys.
You tell.
Where's Ghazi today? I mean, we ate on that food for a week.
Yeah.
And we're talking.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, for folks, just talking. We were talking about the folks at Grill It, and I'll tell you guys, and even reheating that stuff, which normally is tastes like dog meat when you get done. The food at Grill It is absolutely amazing, and their sauces, whether it's at light curry or whether it's the spicy, I guess Caribbean spices, that one as well, are just really and truly amazing, and they just bring out the flavor. And there's no junk in this stuff. I mean, there's no hormones in the beef at all. It's not all junked up the way it might be at other fast food places. Simply amazing. I think Mike, you're onto something with these folks, and Charles, I think boy, you got to ride this horse, because I truly believe that people are thinking more in the vein of no MSG, get some of that crap out of the food, and it's all natural. I mean, it is really, really good. Yeah, and we didn't have any of the salads or anything, but I'm looking forward. Actually, I've got 2 events down there. Our first basketball game is down in Miami, so I'm trying to arrange to have the college actually stop off there, and we'll have our team meal there. Yeah.
Well, you get 2 choices if you're going to Miami. You can go to the Pembroke Pines location,
right,
which is halfway and on the way.
Yep.
In either direction.
So. Right. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, even stocks that didn't benefit from top-line earnings, like take Illinois Tool, ITW, their sales were down 20.7%. The stock is up 86 points, 8,600, 0.86 to 78.44. I mean, just the market is so strong; it's incredible. And
people kind of lose track when you see, Noodles and Company come with an IPO and double overnight, or you see, Apple up 12, or you see Netflix, 367 up another 12 on top of the 25 it was up yesterday. What people don't understand, they're kind of desensitized to what a 1% move in a stock like Illinois Tool really is. I mean, that is traditionally a meaningful move. And again, I think people just get desensitized because, they see all of these, glamour stocks, or they see some of these, stocks that are in the other direction opening, down 30%. They just forget. I mean, if you get a stock that moves 0.8% a week, you're Fat City.
Well, I was gonna get Alan Greenspan's book for the two of you. I know you're such big fans of his.
Yeah. He
says the system is broken, and of course he outlines.
He's the guy who broke it.
That's the whole gist of all this, But
yeah.
He's got a brand new book at 87 years young. Of course, he's married to Andrea Mitchell of NBC, so I'm sure she can help at least get the interviews on the Today Show. But anyway, he's got a brand new book out called The Map and the Territory. Alan Greenspan, now an author.
Gary Teller.
Let's welcome Gary Teller.
There's a voice from the past.
How are you, fellas?
Holy smokes! Where have you been?
I tell you, I've been sitting back amazed at Mike's pick on the National Bank of Greece that I vehemently, professionally disagreed with him at $4 a share, and boy was I wrong, as it yesterday crossed over the $6 line, and it did that within a matter of about 2 months. So, Mike,
and the $6.50 line today.
It's really Charles deserves the credit for that.
Well, Charles, let me tell you, what an amazing pick, and I had a lot of good analytical reasons why that stock was going to flatline, and you were just spot on. So good for you.
Yeah. Well, we traded the stock a lot in the past. As a matter of fact, when all of the real problems were coming to light in Europe, I mentioned on this show that, I had traded a stock that I only traded it on the basis of the chart and didn't even know the name of it, and it turned out to be National Bank of Greece. All that said, there was also when they had to recapitalize the bank. I mean, I had traded it from $1.60 to $3 and back down to, we traded it a lot. The company the stock doesn't owe us anything. But if you'll look at the table, you'll see it's not all roses in that we got stuck in the stock when it went from essentially $2.10 down to about $1.60. Well, you kind of lose that in the translation because they reversed the stock 1 for 10. So half of our position actually cost us $12.10, and I was adding on to it at $4. And in fact, we also own February 2015 calls on it. And so if Europe is picking up, that's going to be a monumental winning position. It'll just be terrific. I mean, right now it's trading at $6.45, up another 31 cents today. But you can imagine this thing goes back. We have basically a year and a half to look at this stock for really pennies a share.
Charles, I didn't even know they had any banks left in Greece.
Yeah, they do. That's all they have. Greece
That's
has
all
banks,
they have.
olives, and olive oil. and vacations. And it's a beautiful place.
I was there not many years ago. It's beautiful, but boy, does it get hot there in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no AC, right?
Well, not at the monuments, which I might add. Those monuments, for some reason, stayed open, though ours closed. But no, it was really hot there. It was very, very hot. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's one of the beauties of America, right? Our lovely government at no work. Yeah, we understand.
In the meantime, I have a question to ask, seeing as I have a fairly representative group here. What do you think about the double dip for the government employees who got unemployment and how now are being paid retroactively for the time they were furloughed?
Intriguing.
Well, they knew they were getting paid for that when they were furloughed. The day after the furlough, there was news that came out that they were all going to be paid retroactively. So if they applied also,
it was paid. So it was a 16-day paid vacation plus unemployment.
Sure, why not?
So they fraudulently filed for unemployment because they were told that it was on NBC News. If I knew it, they knew it.
All right, Casey.
So they fraudulently filed for benefits, and of course, nothing will happen. If you and I did it, we'd be thrown under the
there are a bunch of them who have actually gotten paid. There are, they got $450 checks the first week that they were eligible, and so that comes 2 weeks hence because you lose the week that you file, but they do give it back. So there were 800,000 people getting $450, and I heard somebody complaining yesterday on one of the afternoon interviews that they deserved it. There was such their jobs were in turmoil, and it's only $450. If the government pays me an extra 75 cents, they're banging at my door with principal, interest, and penalties.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the interesting,
and yet these people are, and the woman who was, pro the fact that they deserved it, her biggest argument was, well, it's not very much money. At what point does it not become important as to the issue as opposed to the dollars and cents?
What was very interesting was Tom Sullivan, it was I think it was Friday, that had a military surgeon on who had just retired from active in the military, who got a notice that his health insurance is going up from $1,800 to $3,000 to help pay for Obamacare. Mm-hmm. And that these notices are going out to retirees of military that they would be paying a portion of the Obamacare. So I mean, it's like, oh no,
we're all paying for it.
Oh sure, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they have to have whatever it is, 7 million or whatever kids for all intents and purposes. They're all Casey Quintana's age. Anyway, but no,
I can't really complain because if you're lucky like me and you have, then you're over 60 and you have cancer, then, there are young people who are going to pay part of the way for me. It's not much of a consolation, though.
Yeah.
Do you think, fellas, that the young people are going to... I mean, I would think if I was 25 again, I would just pay the $98 fine.
Yeah, at 25...
That's fine until year 3.
At 25, which one of us at 25 didn't think they were immortal?
Oh, yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, tell us about the Tsunami, Casey. We have the brand new product out. It's much improved. And it's really unbelievable.
Yeah, you notice how Casey really hasn't been hanging around since he did that famous shoot with a model?
I'll tell you what, man, we've been firing on all cylinders, and it's really kept me away from the phone. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, we understand. You've got.
Come on, Greg.
You've got
don't
priorities.
make trouble for Casey. Don't make trouble for Casey at home. He's got a wife and kids.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, our beautiful model couldn't speak 3 coherent words, so we had to send all of that footage to the editing floor and ended up using some different footage of.
I love it.
Some football stuff.
Wait, Casey,
Yeah, it was
Gary,
very
I can think of a lot of politically incorrect things to say. I'm not going to say none of them. But
go ahead, Gary.
My goodness.
Go ahead, Gary. I mean, what the heck?
Well, I tell you what, I dated a model for many years ago, and it sounds like things have not changed.
No, they certainly haven't.
So anyway, you've got a totally revised video, and so is that puppy hit the air, or is it next week?
On Monday, we're starting a saturation campaign on CNBC, Fox 1, the NFL Network, and ESPN. We're running 15s because I'm a huge believer in repetition.
Mm-hmm.
So we're running 15s. We're going to be bookending the commercial breaks, so we'll be in the front and the back.
There you go.
Yep. Break. So we're going to be running about once an hour, maybe a little bit more frequent, but basically once an hour, and starting up in the New York, New Jersey markets.
Cool. Well, as long as you don't have all that much to say, 15s are fine. But if you do, and try and cram it in, it's awful.
We're not going to try to sell a product on a commercial. I mean, people who do they just don't know anything about marketing.
Exactly.
All we want to do is get eyeballs to the site. The
there
site's going to do the heavy lifting.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a Facebook page, Case?
You know what? We do, but I have found absolutely no value in social media whatsoever. The mindset and the thought sequence of the visitor when they're on Facebook is, who did Sally break up with, not how am I going to improve anything. So, marketing is all about thought sequencing, and they're just not in the right frame of mind to pull them then onto a landing page. So I've never, I've tested it ad nauseum, and I've analytics on everything that you can analyze, and I've never found numbers worth pursuing it further. So it's been tested, it's been disproven, so we've thrown it in the can. We do have a page.
Yeah, there was an interview with someone up here from Gartner, which is one of the big, I want to say survey type.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard of them. Yep.
Up here. And what they were saying was that Facebook is no longer cool, that most of the 18 to 50 disappeared from Facebook, from the use of Facebook,
Twitter,
when their parents got involved in it. Now, if it's not Twitter or Instagram,
yes,
or Vine, that's where the eyeballs are going. That's where the hits are going. And this is not a commentary on on Facebook, the stock, but the fact of the matter is, they keep on publishing numbers of users, and frankly, I'm not so sure that that's a valid number anymore. If you have 800,000 users or 800 million users and only half of them are signing on, doesn't really mean much.
Right, exactly.
I find the whole concept of Facebook just, it seems a little bit predatory and voyeuristic.
Yeah.
So it kind of, it's creepy to me to start with. But then take away the creepy factor of it. I don't understand why anybody is so interested in anybody else's lives. They want to vicariously live through them on some digital platform is beyond me. But But aside from that, I've tested it and tested it and tested it. I've tested organic social, I've tested paid social, and it just doesn't convert as well as other platforms.
Yeah, the only thing that I use it for is friends' birthdays or relatives' birthdays, and without that, I'm always 2 days late and $2 short on sending a birthday card or something.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's what it's used for.
But that's really not much of a value. You don't really make anything as Facebook on that type of
Exactly.
of information.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, actually, Casey, I saw your model on your Facebook page, so I'm just. It's interesting you say that about Facebook because, I had somebody through here, and obviously that was a big topic of discussion at our broadcasters convention, and it was like, oh, you got to have a Facebook page, you got to make it as part of your advertising package. Okay, I can see that, but. Do you even, if you are on Facebook, do you ever look at the ads? Any of you guys?
Never.
I don't.
No.
I'm not on Facebook.
No. Well, but I mean,
Facebook.
I mean, I never do. And so, okay, it's very strange. I don't know. It's just one of those things, and LinkedIn's the other one. Of course, that's the business Facebook. And actually, I've had some very interesting contacts there, and actually we may actually hire someone from LinkedIn. So, that's like, okay, that's intriguing, but at least that's a business site. And,
I find LinkedIn to be very useful in finding contractors. They have Elance and Odesk, and on those platforms, you're going to find some Indian that's working in a shack who barely knows how to spell his own name. With LinkedIn, you seem to get a higher quality of contractor.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that there are people who go to LinkedIn, but because of the character of the service, they pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you always have to think that, you get what you pay for, and if you're paying nothing for Facebook, that's probably what you're getting. On the other hand, if it costs you $40 a month for LinkedIn for their, basic service, if you're paying it, you're probably using it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and
so that's a whole different business plan.
Well, and you look at where we're going to be going with the television situation. I mean, I'm already tied to ESPN, Fox, and you name it, and it's like, okay, you look at the pool of people that, I've already been contacted by. There's some really good folks in there,
Yeah.
Not that we'll be able to afford them initially, but still, these are really good pros that know their stuff, and even if it's producing an event or two a year, they'll do a great job. And so, it's really interesting to see. It's a whole different form, and I agree with Casey. The level of professionalism on LinkedIn is good. It really.
It's head and shoulders above the rest of them.
Oh yeah. So Casey, you debut pretty much in the Northeast, or you're just I presume just doing the cable with Fox, and you're not doing any over the air?
Well, it's I'm not sure what you mean by over the air.
Real television, not cable television.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I am new to mass media, so I'm not even sure I understand the distinction between cable and real television.
Okay.
But I am the strongest of believers in statistics and analytics and testing. So, like anything else, we're going to test it. We're going to see what our conversion rate is, what our cost to acquire a customer is, and then after a 2-week period, make a decision whether to move forward. We have analytics on everything, including the videos we have on page. We can see every single person that watches. It's kind of scary. Talking about voyeuristic. Boy, I'm smashing Facebook, and look at me. I'm the king of voyeurism. We can see every single person that watches the video, how many times, when they abandon it, where they leave the page, where they go to, where they come from. So, we take all of that data and we analyze it and decide if mass media or television or fake television, whatever you want to call it, is worth rolling out to another market. So that's where we are. We're kind of in the testing
stage. And Casey,
stage.
would you consider Groupon or multi-level marketing of any kind for these products?
You know what? Because of my ego, I can't even acknowledge multi-level. Number one,
let's
you have
welcome
to have
Andy Sealfon of RMS Medical Services.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Andy's going to chip in for 5 minutes.
Okay.
About the progress of REPR.
Casey, we'll get back to you in just a second. Okay.
Okay.
So Andy, how are things going with you?
Good. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing okay. So you're all prepared to pay your medical tax, and
we've been paying it. Unfortunately, it's another fact of life, But it's better than the alternative. The saying is death and taxes, so I guess I'll take the taxes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, whatever. Okay, so
Andy, your stuff isn't. You're not liable for any of the medical, the tax that they're talking about for stuff like, I guess, Intuitive Surgical and a bunch of the others, medical devices tax.
We're a medical device.
It's a medical device, yeah.
Tax.
You bet.
And they don't make any qualification as to
no,
what it is?
They make no qualification as to what it is or the size of your company. In fact, not even if you're profitable or not. You pay the tax, period.
Yep.
So what will that actually end up costing, let's say, on the pumps?
Well, it's whatever that tax is. It's 2.7%, whatever that number is.
And what do those things sell for?
Well, it's about... the average selling price is somewhere around $400.
Oh, okay. Well, so that's meaningful.
Well, it is meaningful.
It's meaningful if you don't get anything for it.
It's a $10 bill.
Right.
Yeah, but
it comes right off of our profit.
I was going to say, it comes right off the bottom line.
Yeah.
Hey, Andy?
Yeah.
Andy, I haven't. Well, this will be like social media here. Andy, I haven't spoken to you in about 13 or 14 years. This is Gary Cheller from Greenwich, Connecticut.
Hi, Gary. How you doing?
How are you there, young fella? Andy, I want to ask you your opinion, and let me say to the listening audience, I've had the privilege of going to Andy's company and meeting him. What a first-class operation! I have no doubt it's still a first-class operation. That's why I want to ask you this question. With this Obamacare that we're now all subject to, in your opinion, because you're really plugged into the healthcare, good, bad, indifferent, going to hurt, going to help in the long run? What do you think?
Well, it's hard to know. Obviously, it's a compromised piece of legislation that was crafted under very difficult political circumstances. It fails a lot of, areas that really needed to be addressed, but they couldn't because it just wasn't feasible. The basic intent behind it is clearly needed. We have a disaster in our healthcare system. Our system of compensation, reimbursement is a mess. The people who are uninsured is outrageous and completely unacceptable. We are doing procedures and have devices, and we have medical care that is largely untested, unknown, and perhaps not very viable. And all of these things that Obamacare was trying to do, of course, there's a lot of people upset and against it because they enjoyed doing doing devices that may not be efficacious, performing surgery that may not be beneficial, and as long as nobody was paying attention and they were making a lot of money, they would like to continue that. Clearly, insurance companies want to continue their income. So there are a lot of forces aligned against it. If it could work the way it was thought of originally, there would be some significant benefits to it. And I'm upset with the tax that I'm burdened with. But if it really means that it would improve health care and give us better treatments and qualify devices so that bad quality devices or devices that really provide no benefit won't be reimbursed, I'm all for that. I think that's going to ultimately produce a better product in the marketplace, and it will be much more cost-effective. Nobody really realizes the disaster that's awaiting us if we continue on our current trajectory. Such diseases as Alzheimer's and the heart disease, obesity, these epidemics are going to overwhelm this healthcare system, and this fee-for-service basis will be a disaster. And so anything that would work against that is going to be helpful. Now, having said that, I'm obviously subject to the tax, and as a CEO of a public company making devices, I have to say, well, I don't really like the tax, but if the whole thing could work, I think we have to accept a little pain for some benefit.
Yeah, but is there really realistically going to be a benefit?
Well, that's a political question. If it was performed as intended, there would definitely be a benefit. Wouldn't it be interesting to know what drugs work the best for what diseases really, and what surgeries really are efficacious, and which ones we're paying for that really don't work, and we're paying a fortune of money for it? All of these catheterizations that you see, somebody had published a study on this, and they discovered that the number of catheterizations a group of people need is directly proportional to whether you have a catheter lab in your city or how many you have. And if you don't have a catheter lab, it turns out none of you need that surgery. But if you have 5 or 6 labs, then you guys need a lot of those procedures. There's something radically wrong with that process. And if that can be addressed through reimbursement and some kind of measurement of efficacy, determining what really is working and what's not, and what they're willing to pay for, I think that would be helpful. So, we had Sarah Palin run around and say, but what about, it's death panels, they're not going to let grandma live, and so there's this political problem which I can't address. I'm not a politician. I'm only a lowly engineer running a medical company, and so I'm just looking at the practical benefits to society of having a healthy society, which would be more productive, and more productive would mean better quality of life for everybody, and I think that's what we all have to pull towards.
Hey, Andy, being married to a surgeon, I can tell you firsthand that there is a little bit of truth to what Sarah Palin was saying about death panels. You see, now what's going to happen is if you do need an operation or a procedure, as they call it, there will be a group of people other and in conjunction with your doctor to make a decision when you get that procedure. So if you're a healthy 35-year-old that needs a procedure, you will get that faster than a guy my age at 56, and I'll probably get it faster than the person who's 70. That's why the income and your tax returns are all being tied into health care, is to determine what is your income, how much will you contribute to the system over X amount of years versus the other person. So though everything you're saying makes sense in a perfect world, there's going to be a whole lot of pain that people are going to have to experience financially to see if this thing is ever going to work.
Well, Gary, how will you answer the Alzheimer's epidemic? Do you have any idea of the cost of caring for somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's? And those numbers are going astronomical.
Hey, I know firsthand with my uncle. Yes, I do. And
okay. Now, you multiply that by the projections. How is your healthcare system going to function under that burden?
You can't, Andy. You can't. But at the same token, I don't share all of your optimism on this system that we have now. That's before us, but perhaps
I didn't say I was optimistic. I said it's a horrible political compromise. It may or may not work, but what do you have now is useless.
You can't sustain what you have now. I understand, but there's I think it's one of these situations, fellas, where you kind of put your seatbelt on and ride this out and see how it plays out. And I will give everyone who's listening to this a good FYI heads up. As people are now being directed more to physicians' assistants and registered nurses,
right.
It's just that you still see a doctor, that you want to see a registered MD, and that nothing against PAs, they're wonderful, or registered nurses, that's awesome, but if you need a doctor, you want to see a doctor.
In brief, our company makes very cost-effective products, medical devices, which have a very high return on performance and benefit for the patient. So we believe in the long run the Health Care Act, the Affordable Health Care Act, is going to be beneficial for our company because the kind of products we make are very cost-effective and very efficacious, meaning they work really fantastically well. And so if Obamacare is going to require performance criteria for devices to be reimbursed, we will get to the head of that list because we offer the best performance at the lowest price with all of our products, our Freedom 60, our Rescue Vac, our high-flow needle sets, offer the absolute best performance far and away over what's available at very good cost. So that ratio is excellent for our products. And so to bring this back to how does it affect our MS medical products, we think in the long run it'll be a plus. In the short run, there's going to be, the problems of working through this enormous piece of legislation and having it modified and adjusted to the real needs of the people.
Andy, the last time you were on, you were talking about going to Scandinavia and that part of the world and building your network in Europe. How's that going?
That's going very well. We are heading back to Europe in November to the Medica show in Dusseldorf, Germany. That is an enormous show. More than 200,000 attend.
Wow.
We have distributors in many of the countries, thanks to the efforts of our people on the ground in Europe. We have a distributor, very strong distributor in Finland, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, France. We're bringing on Italy, Germany. So we expect to continue that effort more aggressively in the coming year. We're bringing on our own sales representative manager to start, hopefully, maybe by November, and really hit the ground running. So we think that's going to pay dividends. Europe is a market equally as large as the USA. At the same time, we're bringing on countries in South America, Brazil, Argentina. So we have a whole lot of activity going on there.
Boy, that's great. Charles, Mike, any questions for Andy?
No, appreciate your coming on. I know Andy had a very busy schedule this morning.
Yeah, I'm running to a meeting now, so if there are no further questions, I would thank you for your time, gentlemen. And
what's your stock symbol, Andy?
REPR.
REPR. RMS Medical. All right. Hey, thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everyone.
All right.
Very good.
So Andy Sealfon, and so he's got sells a medical device that is $400, and he's going to be paying at least $10 more in the tax.
And does not require electricity. So when there's a hurricane,
yeah, that was kind of my point. I didn't know. I forgot to put it in those terms, but I guess a stent is non-electric and also an appliance.
Yeah, wow. It's you'd imagine. I would imagine a thermometer would be considered a medical device if you're going to go that far.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, and it's like, and you were mentioning it, Charles. I feel bad for Casey. Casey, are you still on the line?
I am, and I feel bad for me too.
Yeah. You're
I don't even know why.
Yeah. You're what? In your early 40s, late 30s?
I'm actually almost 50.
Oh, you're almost 50. Oh, you're an old guy then. That you don't count.
Oh my God, I never know that.
Oh, so anyway,
he looks like 35.
You honestly would not know it by looking at me.
Look at Casey. He's 35. He's very strong. He lifts tremendous amounts of weight, and my goodness, you'd never know that he's over 35.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, because interesting. Okay. Well, I think it's Casey's generation. Of course, my kids and my grandkids that I'm really concerned about with all the health stuff now. I really am.
Trust me, we're going to be going to Qatar and Asia. We're going to be going to other countries to get medical services provided because it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be just as effective because the quality of service here is going to shrink demonstrably as it's socialized. I mean, it's really becoming socialized medicine. We've already proven through 200 plus years that the government can't govern anything, let alone our health. So we're going to be going to other countries to have the services performed.
You see it all the time. They call them medical vacations.
Yes, and actually, I remember Mike talking about this maybe 5 or 6 or maybe even longer years ago when Mike was in Korea and he was talking about the surgeries in Thailand, and you start reading about this stuff, and of course 60 Minutes wound up doing a piece on, exactly, they call them medical vacations. And, and these surgeries are like maybe 1/10 of what you would pay here, and the medical suites, if you will, are like anything you would find here in the U.S. Now, whether the doctors are, as knowledgeable
Plus
as they are here.
Plus you get the miles.
Plus you get the miles. Charles! Jiminy Christmas. You get Charles's miles. Okay. No, but no, I mean it's amazing, Casey, and I think it's going to unfortunately fall on your generation and my kids' generation to try and fix all this garbage. Yeah.
Well, they say that this generation coming up is going to be the first one that is actually less wealthy than the prior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I will be as sincere as I can to tell you that's a huge motivating factor for me to maintain the health and the physical shape that I'm in, because I can't, if I allow my body to start to deteriorate as it naturally will, it's just going to accelerate the point to which I need that medical service that won't be available.
Well, I just want to tell everybody how great Tsunami has been for me. I'm 75, and I take the Tsunami when I wake up in the morning, but I take the old product before it was revised with the alpha-lipoic acid in it, and it's just been great for me to take it early in the morning, and then, of course, before I go and work out, and it's really helped my circulation, and I just have never had a product as good as this.
Yeah, I got a call yesterday from my contact with the Navy SEALs. As you know, we sent them 2 pallets of product about 6 weeks ago. So they've now had 6 weeks to distribute it, and the feedback has exceeded my expectations. Of course, we know it's good, and we expect people to say, "Wow, this is great stuff." But they quantify it in terms of the length that they're able to perform at specific levels. I guess they do a lot of, I don't know, the only way I could define it is hand-to-hand combat. He called it something else, some sort of martial arts term. But he said that they have a competitive atmosphere within this type of personal train or personal combat training. And they said that the insertion of this product, of Tsunami, into that training has increased everybody's performance within that type of training. And when I was talking to him last night, he said that they were able to go X percentage longer and do. He was using fighting terms that I just don't remember what they are because they were completely new to me. But it was great to hear the extent at which this is benefiting elite athletes or combat athletes,
sure,
special forces guys.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, of course, the next question is, can you get the government to fork up some buckos for this stuff now?
Well, the government won't pay its investors, or at least threatens to not pay its investors, but they're really, really good at paying their vendors.
There you go.
So
well,
that we don't have to worry about.
Hey, well, how about that? Yeah. Oh, so much for the shareholders in GM, but hey, we'll take care of the vendors. Yeah.
If you're selling hammers or toilet seats, man, you got nothing to worry about.
Oh, man. I love it. I love it. Well, that's great. Well, that's good news. Hey, Gary, are you still on the line with us?
Sure. And, I think that really should be emphasized is that Casey's product, there's so many benefits, and Casey hit it right on the head. And as he was talking, I was thinking about my own health, and that is, why not be proactive if you're concerned, and you should be, that your health care situation going forward, it could be problematic. You owe it to yourself to stay as healthy as you can, because you have no one else to take care of you other than yourself, and Casey's product makes a difference. So why not be proactive and use the product so you can give yourself every opportunity to stay healthy? Mike at mid-70s, I mean, my goodness, the guy's in fantastic shape, and it can't only be genetic.
You can't believe, yesterday I was at Gold's Gym, and there was a leg press machine that had like 10 plates on it, and when the guy working it said, should I take some plates off? And I said, well, I can try it with the plates on. And
oh, God.
I had no problem. I had no problem pressing the 10 plates.
Are you serious?
So they couldn't believe it. I mean, I must look older than I think I look.
How much weight was that, Mike, or dare I even ask?
Well, that would be 450 pounds, 10 to 45-pound weight.
There are NFL players who can't do that.
He's tougher than he sounds, Greg.
Yeah, he must be. Holy smokes. Oh, man.
That's a tsunami. The tsunami has just a phenomenal effect on health.
And Mike, I don't think there could be a person that was more skeptical of the benefits than I was, because I'm a product of traditional medicine, of the FDA tells you what is good and what is bad. So I went into this, and Casey will attest to this, I went into this very, very skeptical of the benefits. And when you just look at it and take the time with an open mind, you sit back and say, you know something? There is something here that's worth investing and using the product, because the benefits far outweigh the risk of not using it. So, again, to those people that are skeptical, because we often hear about products that work that don't do anything, you couldn't get more skeptical than I was, and I'm a believer now.
Yeah, physiological degeneration is inevitable. You cannot stop your body from deteriorating as you progress through life. So you can either address it now with taking care of yourself and performing, or you can take care of it better laying in a hospital bed with some kid
an IV hooked up,
ready to graduate high school, taking care of you.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to bring everybody's attention to the market here. We're having a fairly substantial sell-off.
Uh-oh.
It started in the momentum stocks in general. So we have things like, let me just pull it up.
Was that because of the negative unemployment numbers?
No, they actually didn't bother with that at all. So we have Netflix selling at $340, which is down 15, after trading $389 this morning after the earnings news last night. We have Tesla not really doing much. It has a very tight range today, and it's up 50 cents, which is really nothing. But Apple, which was trading up $5 or $6 or $8, is now $5.20, down $1.32. Let me just see. We have Priceline, PCLN, trading at 1,061, down 26 after trading at 1,098. So we're talking about fairly substantial declines in some of these momentum stocks. We sold this morning, just about 10, 15 minutes ago, we sold the balance of our S&P calls at $2.42. and we made $1.40 on them, which was okay. But the last is 208 bid, offered at 210. So this is a pretty big pullback in all of these momentum stocks.
So Greenspan announces he's writing a book, and the stocks go to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
We've seen that somewhere before.
The Dow is up. The Dow is up 42.86, and the S&P is up $3. The S&P was up $12, and the Dow was up 120 or 112. But definitely in that area. The Nasdaq, which was strong early, is now down 15, and the gold and silver are moving higher. So something is going on, or people are just we start to see you start to see these kind of pullbacks. The first thing that you see is nobody wants to be the last guy out.
Right.
Apple now down 9.5.
Wow.
So. We're seeing a fairly substantial pullback here.
So, Mike, what's going on with oil? I mean, it was...
Well, it might be good. Speaking of oil, I like the SCO. Look, everybody should go to the SCO chart and look how it's breaking out. Oil looks like it's going below $100, the magical $100 number. And it looks like the momentum is topping the oil out. It's seasonal time for oil to top out. It usually does in the fall. And goes down a little bit. We could easily go to the low 90s from here, which is $7 or $8 down. And the SCO can be bought around 145. The November 16, 31 call can be bought around 140 to 145. And it looks like it's breaking out and can go up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I looked at those. The only issue that I have with them, and I looked at them when you mentioned it yesterday because of the position that we just put on in the Exxon. We're awfully overbought. I'd like to be able to try and buy these a little cheaper. And the problem with the options is there's not a lot of open interest. So when you get something like that, they're 50 cents bid offered at 65 cents.
Well, we bought Exxon because they're a huge refiner. And the refining margins are phenomenally better. If you look at Valero, VLO, and all the refining companies like Tesoro, TSO, and VLO,
and what's interesting
Exxon
there, Mike,
are doing much better. They look fantastic.
And what's interesting there is we still have a ban legally on sending oil overseas, but we don't have a ban on sending the product after it's refined. So as long as West Texas Intermediate sells at a discount to the crude, there's a big move there relative to ours having an advantage. 98.80 on the Brent on the West Texas, which is down a little again. But the Brent is actually up 40-odd cents, and it's trading at 110. So there's a lot of margin in there.
Wow, amazing. Well, hey, guys. Gosh, we've done it again. Unfortunately, no food from Grill It. Oh, by the way, Casey, if you're over in this part of the state, you have got to go to Grill It down at Pembroke Pines. It is a must. Got to do it. All right, thanks to Gary, Casey Quintana, Andy Sealfon, and of course, Michael King and Charles Moskowitz with Princeton Research. Go to the website, princetonresearch.com, WPSL, Port St. Lucie.